I've never seen La La Land.
What?
At least that was the case until a couple nights ago, because frankly, I got sick of people going,
You've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
Oh my.
so I decided, what the hell? Let's see what all the hype is about. So I sat down, pressed play, and now, having seen the film, oh my god, it's beautiful! Excuse me, I don't know what happened there. I think the mic is bugging out or something. So La La Land. There is so much to talk about when it comes to this movie that I don't even know where to start. I was thinking we could do the sections, characters, then songs, then cinematography. No, we're running this thing front to back. I don't care how long this video is. You're gonna suffer through it like I suffered through the last 10 minutes of this movie. So one of the things that you'll notice right away with La La Land, other than holy shit, did they shut down the whole highway for this? Is that you are in the hands of a very capable director. Like, there's actually very little exposition to start off the movie, and it's able to convey so much about our characters and this world just through what we're shown. Without saying anything, we understand Mia's dream of being a famous actress. We understand that she's probably struggling financially because she couldn't afford to get another white shirt. Without saying anything, we see how the world of auditions is.
What? Just got my phone. Tell her I'll call her back.
In 2 minutes?
It's also strangely comedic. Like, I don't know, but something about the cut from Mia getting coffee spilled on her to her standing there in a puffy winter jacket, and then her going outside to see what is essentially a bunch of clones of her, I don't know why, that was hilarious to me. The movie also establishes very early on that it does not care about realism. This movie is so over the top and has so much spectacle and is flashy in the best way possible that in some ways, it feels older than it actually is. Like, it has the feeling of this type of classic Hollywood movie, and there were times in here where I actually had to remind myself that this movie is set in modern day and not like the 1950s. To the point where, even though this movie is set in the real world, at times, it still feels like a fantasy. It portrays LA as this magical place, and it allows the movie to strike such an interesting balance where it's not a fantasy or science fiction movie, yet it often feels like it provides the same level of escapism that you tend to only find in those genres. Now, of course, it's tough to talk about what makes this movie so magical without bringing up the music. This whole soundtrack is fire. Another day of sun with someone in the crowd back to back to start off this movie. Oh my goodness. And I actually heard a good chunk of these songs before I even watched the movie, and I already love them, which just tells you how good the music is on its own, completely disconnected from the film. But this created such an interesting experience watching the movie, because even though these are original songs for the film, to me, they felt like needle drops. Like when Mia is walking past the club and hears Mia and Sebastian's theme. I was like, wait, I know this banger. I was like that meme of that guy in the chair. Yeah, let's lock in right now. But even beyond the actual musical numbers, even just the score throughout this entire film, it really cannot be overstated just how important it is. Like, so many of the big emotional moments, especially as we move towards the ending of this film, completely live or die by the musical score. And if they didn't work, some of the movie's biggest moments simply would not land. Now, when it comes to Mia and Sebastian's relationship, once again, I am so happy that this movie is not afraid to stray away from realism. Mainly because I just think that this allows us to feel them falling in love so much better. Like the way that the lights will just dim down around Mia when she sees Sebastian for the first time. Obviously, this is not literally happening, at least I don't think, but it better conveys the sort of magical feeling between the two of them. Of course, we also see this later on when they go to the planetarium and they literally start flying. Again, not actually happening, but in a sense, it is. Because you can imagine that mentally, this is how they might be feeling. And this is what I mean when I say that this movie feels like a fantasy. It's like La La Land exists in this different magical world in the same way that Harry Potter exists in a different magical world, except La La Land is in LA. Now, we cannot talk about what makes Mia and Sebastian work so well without talking about the two people playing them. Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling might just be the two most charismatic people ever. Like, Emma's ability to convey so much emotion even when she has no lines, along with her ability to be intensely vulnerable, along with her ability to do, whatever this is. really makes it hard to imagine anybody else playing Mia, because she's able to pull off this very wide range of having some of the goofiest, silliest moments in the film, and also some of the most dead serious ones. And Ryan Gosling, I mean, this dude is so good. He's responsible for a lot of the levity in the film because that is kind of his character. This sort of slightly naive but well-intentioned man that is the type of character that we see him play in a lot of his roles. We see this in Project Hail Mary, or The Fall Guy, or even Barbie. But here, I feel like that sort of archetype that he has works even better because it's balanced out with a lot of the more serious moments in the film, which makes this performance feel more layered and less one note than what he's given rein to do in other projects. And with him, it's all about the little things. The little quirks that he'll put into his body language, or the way that he'll say lines just slightly different to how any normal person would.
Oh my.
Now, I love the central struggle that Sebastian has throughout this film, of deciding between chasing his dreams or being realistic and finding a steady job. Now, this is something that is pivotal to the film because it is ultimately the first thing that brings about tension in their relationship, but specifically here, I love how it begins. Sebastian only decides to take Keith up on his offer once he overhears Mia on the phone talking about how he doesn't have a steady job.
No, he doesn't have a steady gig. But he's figuring it out. It's just been a little tricky lately.
It provides such an organic way for this miscommunication to begin between them because you can understand that he might feel a pressure to be financially reliable in the relationship when Mia may have never intended for him to feel that way. It also plays into the different pressures and struggles that men and women might feel in relationships. It makes you understand that while Sebastian, when he was single, never cared too much about having a steady income, you can now see that being in a relationship changes that for him. It also leads to one of the best conversations in the entire movie about balancing traditionalism versus mainstream appeal.
But you say you want to save jazz. How you gonna save jazz if no one's listening? Jazz is dying because of people like you. You're playing to 90-year-olds at the Lighthouse. Where are the kids? Where are the young people?
And this is something that, as a movie fan, is so relevant today. We see this being talked about all the time in the movie world, most infamously as of late, Timothée Chalamet's comments about not wanting to see movies become like other art forms, such as ballet or opera, and trying to understand that if you want to keep certain things relevant, you may have to adapt and change your strategies, even if that goes against what the purists of that art form deem to be acceptable. Now, the movie ends up taking a more optimistic viewpoint of traditionalism, of course, with Seb eventually succeeding in opening up his old school, pure jazz club. But I think it's interesting to note that without Seb having gone more commercial for some time and traveling with this band, he probably would have never had the money to even start this club. And it suggests that at times, a compromise might have to be made in order for you to do what you really wanted. It's funny because this harkens back to the conversation that he had with J. Jonah Jameson at the beginning of this movie, where he suggests that they could operate on a one for you, one for me basis.
I thought in this town it worked on a sort of one for you, one for me type system.
And that is basically what happens. He does something for jazz commercially, and then because of that, he's able to do something for himself. Now, hands down, one of the best scenes in the entire movie is the dinner fight scene. It's pretty much the only scene in the movie where they get into a heated argument, but my god, it is done so well. And of course, we can get into the details of how once they start the fight, the camera changes from capturing both of them in the shot to capturing just them individually.
So it's like the long haul.
What do you mean the long haul?
We could talk about the way that Sebastian can't even bring himself to actually look Mia in the eyes whenever he's talking about his dreams.
This is the dream. This is the dream.
This is not your
Guys
dream.
like me work their whole lives to be in something that's successful, that people like.
Almost like he's trying to convince himself that touring around is what he really wants. We can definitely talk about Emma Stone's incredible acting that just breaks your heart.
Are you kidding?
No?
But I think what truly stands out about the scene is the fight really is out of love. Like, the entire argument here is coming from the fact that Mia doesn't want Sebastian to give up on his dreams. And we even see this paralleled later on in the movie where, once again, Sebastian and Mia get into it, this time over Sebastian not letting her give up on her dreams. And this is exactly the type of thing that makes their relationship work so well. even in these moments when they're arguing, the argument is still born out of wanting the best for each other. And in a sense, that truly adds to how much you feel that they care about each other. Ooh, and the way the music cuts out when Sebastian insults her.
Much about being light.
You're an actress. What are you talking about?
So uncomfortable. It feels like you're sitting at a dinner party with this couple that invited you over, and you're just watching this unfold, and you can't say anything. You just gotta sit there like, I think I'm gonna go anywhere but here. And I love how at the end of the scene, the movie switches to a shaky handheld camera that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they had used at any other point in the film up until this scene. And for a movie that is otherwise so smooth and glossy, it now almost feels like you're watching a completely different film. Now, I think we can all pretty much agree that La La Land is what we would call the definition of a mesmerizing film. It's a film where you genuinely struggle to take your eyes off the screen. Often that's because of what they're doing with the colors, or one of our characters' performances, or the quality of the music. And Mia's audition scene is truly the pinnacle of all of this. It is one continuous take for the entire audition. The lights are dimmed down, so all you can see is Emma Stone's face. Emma Stone, who, by the way, is captivating as shit. And the song, I mean, I don't know anything about music, but the song goes hard.
Painters and poets and plays, and here's to the fools who dream.
And so what you end up with is a scene that while I was watching, I literally could not look away. Like seriously, I think I tried to look away like 3 times. Couldn't do it. I felt like Batman. I couldn't move my neck. All right, and of course, this brings us to the ending. The inescapable scene that pops up on your Instagram timeline every couple months. And first of all, I just want to say, of course it's this guy. Of course, it's the freaking dad from The Summer I Turned Pretty. Of course, I'm just kidding. No shade to the actual actor. But I swear, I couldn't have been the only one who, when I was watching this, I was like, oh, maybe this is a scene that she's filming where she's pretending to have a family. And I kept hoping that somebody was gonna call cut. I was like, she's gonna walk out that door and then someone's gonna say cut. No. And the final epilogue to this film, where we essentially get to travel back through the biggest moments in the movie, really is one of the best sequences that I've ever seen in a film. And watching it, at least for me, I really got the impression that this was Seb's perspective. Now I understand that you can argue that this fantasy is just supposed to be a what if that is supposed to apply to both characters, and I could see that. But so many things about this struck me as being specifically Seb's vision. If you notice, everything in this are things that he could have done differently. It's him kissing her that first time instead of walking past her. It's him turning down Keith instead of taking the job. It's him being there at her show instead of missing it. It's him following her to Paris instead of staying back in LA. Like in this reimagining, nothing actually changes for Mia's life. In fact, some of the scenes are mirrored one-to-one, with the only difference being that Sebastian is there in place of the dude from The Summer I Turned Pretty, very much suggesting to me that this is Sebastian thinking about what his life would have looked like if he prioritized Mia above his dream. There's also something that I think is very romantic about this, like the fact that even in Sebastian's fantasy of how they could have ended up together, this fantasy still ensures that Mia achieves her dream. Like even in his mind, he doesn't even think about a possibility where she has to compromise on her dream to be with him. He only ever thinks about how he could fit into her life. Another clue that led me to believe that this is what's happening in Sebastian's mind is at the end of the sequence, when he imagines himself sitting with Mia in the club, he envisions them sitting much closer together and just looking, generally speaking, much more in love than the way she is actually sitting with her real husband, which could suggest a little bit of wishful thinking on Sebastian's part. Like he assumes that she probably would have been happier with him. Or maybe this is all Mia's perspective, in which case, Summer I Turned Pretty guy, I feel bad for you. Now the one question I have, and it's not even a negative, but just a question, is that after Mia went off to Paris for her 4-month shoot, could her and Sebastian not have got back together once she came to the United States? Like you're telling me they couldn't have done long distance for 4 months while she shot this movie and then kept going? Mr. Chazelle, I need some answers. But in the end, I think that this conclusion really is a beautiful one. It's one that shows the harsh reality that sometimes chasing your dreams comes at a cost. As from the vision that we saw, if they ended up together, Sebastian would have never lived out his dream. And so for Mia and Sebastian, even though their relationship didn't last, it wasn't in vain, as they both helped each other along the road to achieving their dreams. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to watch another, just click somewhere on the screen to see what YouTube thinks you'd like, and hopefully, I will see you guys in the next one.